Right here in this moment, I shall sign an executive order that will uphold our city's protection not just of our fellow immigrant New Yorkers, but of all New Yorkers from abusive immigration enforcement. Across this country, day after day, we bear witness to cruelty that staggers the conscience. Masked agents paid by our own tax dollars violate the Constitution and visit terror upon our neighbors. They arrive as if atop a pale horse, and they leave a path of wreckage in their wake. People ripped from their cars, guns drawn against the unarmed, families torn apart, lives shattered, quietly, swiftly, brutally. If these are not attacks upon the stranger among us, what is? This cruelty is no faraway concept. ICE operates here in New York, in our courthouses, our workplaces. They skulk at 26 Federal Plaza, the same building where I waited in fear as my father had his citizenship interview. If these are not attacks upon the stranger among us, what is? ICE is more than a rogue agency. It is a manifestation of the abuse of power. This order is a sweeping reaffirmation of our commitment to our immigrant neighbors and to public safety as a whole. We will make it clear once again that ICE will not be able to enter New York City property without a judicial warrant. We will protect New Yorkers' private data from being unlawfully accessed by the federal government and stand firmly against any effort to intrude on our privacy. No New Yorker should be afraid to apply for city services like childcare because they are an immigrant. This order mandates that essential city agencies are complying with city laws and directs them to conduct thorough audits of all policies guiding agency interactions with immigration authorities. We will create a centralized mechanism for coordinating policy.
As the nation grapples with rising tensions over federal immigration enforcement, New York City's new mayor is delivering a shock to the White House. And this move comes as the country is still reeling from recent fatal confrontations involving federal agents. Today, guys, Zohran Mamdani bold sanctuary city action and why it's resonating across the U.S. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani has signed a sweeping executive order reinforcing the city's sanctuary status, a declaration that limits cooperation with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE and strengthens protection for undocumented residents. The order makes it clear that federal immigration agents cannot access city-controlled properties without a judicial warrant, including schools, shelters, hospitals, and more, and bolsters privacy safeguards so local data isn't shared with federal officials except when required by law. City agencies must now audit their compliance with sanctuary policies, and a crisis response committee has been established to coordinate any major enforcement activities or actions. Mamdani also launched a multilingual Know Your Rights campaign, distributing tens of thousands of material to immigrant communities through faith leaders and community partners. At his first annual interfaith breakfast, the mayor appealed to moral values, urging New Yorkers to respond to fear with defiance through compassion and framing the city's stance as a moral, not just legal imperative. The Trump administration has sharply criticized Mamdani's move, arguing that tighter sanctuary policy will make cities less safe, with federal Homeland Security spokesperson warning that limiting cooperation with ICE could hinder efforts to detain criminal suspects. Meanwhile, a new U.S. Senate bill aimed to condition federal funding on local cooperation with immigration enforcement, setting up a broader fight over sanctuary policies nationwide. The spotlight on sanctuary cities isn't happening in a vacuum. Across the country, particularly in Minneapolis, Minnesota, anger has erupted following fatal shootings by federal immigration agents this winter. In January, Renee Good, a 37-year-old U.S. citizen, was shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis during an enforcement operation, sparking widespread protests and calls for accountability. That incident followed other confrontations involving operation tactics by DHS and federal officers, intensifying debate over federal enforcement strategies and local responses. In response to these deaths and the ensuing public outcry, some federal agencies have begun issuing body-worn cameras to immigration personnel in Minneapolis, an unprecedented step aimed at increasing accountability during enforcement actions. With Mamdani's executive order now in effect, New York City is positioning itself as the vanguard for sanctuary advocacy, a stance that critics say complicates federal law enforcement efforts and that supporters argue protects immigrant communities and civil liberties. As the national dialogue continues or intensifies from Washington to Minneapolis to New York, one thing is clear: sanctuary cities are no longer just symbolic. They are a central battleground in America's ongoing debate over immigration, federal power, and public safety. So that, guys, is a status check. Let's be hearing the conversation below. Let me hear your thoughts. Is this the right move? Is it a necessary move based on what has been going on, where ICE agents just shoot at will and shoot U.S. citizens, shoot anybody at all? Is this the right move? We here have an opinion. Let us hear yours.